Welcome back to Custom Home Builder Solutions, also known as CHS, a job costing, full accounting, and profit management software for the professional home builder. This is a continuation in a little series of videos that I've been doing about if some outside party goes and pays for job costs that you're tracking inside CHS, and how you post those as paid vouchers, and how CHS will let you post that to the vendor that was paid by the outside party. Like in this case, in our example we did in the previous videos, is a home buyer went and paid for front door themselves, and so we posted that bill to the vendor, Builder's Display, that they paid, and then we marked it as paid by voucher, which meant it gets marked as paid without affecting our cash account, and it handles its accounting entries on the other side as revenues. So it's like you did a little draw for that. They gave you the money and you paid for it, but we've designed it so that it won't affect any cash account when you do that. Even though they paid for it, it's sort of as if is what we do. But first, before what I'm really going to talk about in this video, we've already posted paid voucher stuff in the previous video, etc., and posted some paid voucher entries. I'm really going to end up addressing in this video, if you're doing using the features in CHS for producing draw requests and you're drawing based on costs posted, those costs for the paid voucher will show up in the draw. But if you look through the draw request, you will see that it's going to show that there's some paid voucher revenue that should probably be deducted from that draw, and you need to indicate that to the home buyer when you're giving them the draw, so that when they see the draw for front door and a cost for it, they can see real clearly that you're also giving them credit. And I'm going to show you how to do that to keep your home buyer happy, and also how to maybe to adjust, cause the deposit you receive from them, which is less by the paid voucher, how to sort of adjust all your accounting by posting the deposit correctly. So first of all, I've clicked Accounting Database because I want to look at those records. I opened the full accounting, and then I did a search for just everything posted to our cash voucher clearing account. That was the fastest way for me to do it. You could also do check number PV or something and see ones if you'll watch the previous videos. But I just, since we've only done one basic batch of paid voucher entries, I just did that search. And what I'd like you to notice is that CHS, when it's posting those to that cash clearing account, is just posting a zero thing. It's actually so that you could look these up in some cash ledgers and drill down to the detail behind them. So we post these little offsets to kind of give in the batch, to kind of give them something to hang on to, and show that we're actually doing zero to our cash. But if you'll notice, this is, for this particular builder, they are on a completed contract method, so they're posting everything that are job costs to 1430 direct construction costs, and so all their job costs are ending up here. And when these paid voucher entries, here's a real job cost one that's 4535 because it has a cost code, and this one also because it has a cost code. So these are the only two records here. If you do a job cost report, the only two records that will show up on it is these two records. Then if you do a job revenues report, these two records will show up under a deposit category called paid voucher clearing. We showed that a little bit in the last video. But the net effect of all of this is a zero effect to the 1430 account. So if you were trying to tie your job cost report to your 1430 account, these two entries are in the 1430 account, but they are not job costs, so they won't be there. There is a place in CHS where you can go to financials and review when you're trying to tie your actual job cost reports, which will just comb through your database and get any records with a cost code other than zero. When you're trying to tie that to maybe the GL account on your chart of accounts that you're posting job costs to, there might be a little difference because of those paid voucher entries. And I'm going to show you in this video how you can actually get that difference straightened up once you collect some money, that you deduct that paid voucher money you tell them deduct that paid voucher money from the money. There is a trial balance with job sums that's going to open a worksheet that actually will help you reconcile. Here's his account that he's posting all his job costs to. It's actually all your GL accounts sum totaled by job, so that's really handy. So we're posting all of our job costs, and you can see this job, Lavelle, Subin site, and our demo job here. So if you look at the total in the account of $128,701.86 for this job, but you say, I want to just see ones that are job costs for this general ledger account, and you go down and you see the total, you'll see that it's a little bit different. And you may wonder why, because you want to tie your job cost reports for some reason to this account. It could be that you posted some job costs to some other GL accounts, and you could go take a look to see if you have and know. Or it could be that there's some entries in this 1430 account that are not job costs, so you can click this to drill down, and then suddenly you see that we have these minus amounts for 2250 that got posted to that 1430, because when a paid voucher batch is posted, it posts the offsets to the same GL account you used for the original job costs. This has to do with the fact that these are actually supposed to be in and out entries that aren't affecting your GL accounts because they're not real. Somebody else outside did it. And I'm going to show you how, through doing our draw request, we're actually going to get our job cost report to tie back after we've done it. So let's close this, and we'll come back to that window. And let's go to do a draw request for our demo job. I've clicked Draw Request menu, and I'll select our demo job. Now, if you're allowing anybody outside to pay the job costs and then posting them in CHS as paid vouchers, then before you do a draw request, you probably want to take a look at your revenues received to see if there is any paid voucher revenue. This report that opened, it remembers where I'd slid down to last time, will show all revenues received. But if you have something in paid voucher clearing like 2250, you might think, well, I'm going to need to tell the home buyer when I do this draw request that they've already paid 2250 of it. You need to stay aware, of what you're doing, especially if you let some outside party pay, and take care of that to keep them happy. And that's what we're going to do with this draw request. It's $22.50. We could actually export that to PDF just so we have it available just to look at if we need to open it again to look at that amount. Because I'm going to minimize this now so that it's down in my taskbar as a PDF. And I'll close that. So what I'm going to do is this particular job, if we look at the contract type, etc. over here using this button, has been marked as a cost plus markup job with a cost plus markup of 25%. So since it's a cost plus markup job, we've been doing costs plus markup draw requests. You have to reselect that if you open that button because it needs to reload some things. Based on that. Now what we can see first when we do a draw request, and there'll be other videos about doing draw requests, is a list of previous draws that we've done, and notice how you can view a stored PDF of that, like that first draw, and open your file cabinet and find everything tagged with draw 1 for that job, and then go ahead and look at that draw request if you want to. We're going to make another one here by doing draw request number 2. So let's prepare new draw request. And then when we get here, it's going to ask what cutoff date. Sometimes people are only drawing, through, maybe I would have been drawing through the end of February, but in our case, we're drawing all costs we posted through today. So we will continue to the next step. The next window that opens will show you all costs, job costs that have been posted for the job but not included on a draw request yet. And the reason this window opens before you go to the draw worksheet is so that you can uncheck some things. Now if you don't really want to go through and find that, you'll see here that these two costs are in here to be included in the draw request. And if they're marked up, they're for these amounts. Now we want to draw these amounts right here because we want that 25% markup. So we need to leave these included on our draw request. And I'm going to show you what to do about that so that the home buyer, when you hand them the draw request, doesn't get all freaked out about this cost that they paid for being on there. So we're going to leave them on there. And we need to leave them on our draw request because we're wanting to get our 25% markup on this cost plus markup job. So we won't uncheck these to not include. We will leave them. So we're going to say done and continue to our draw worksheet. If we go down to, and it's showing you what's ready to draw in this column, and if you go down to where, let's find that windows and doors, you're going to see that front door, we're ready to draw to 281250. Now the home buyer, if you drill down on that 281250 also, you'll see it again. The home buyer did pay this, and if you drill down, you can see it's PV. In other words, some outside party did we posted paid voucher and that's paid. But again, we still want this 281250 on our draw request because we did have extra stuff, and they're supposed to pay us cost plus markup. So we want to leave this 281250 on our draw request. So what I'm going to do is show you something you can do to make them happy. Let's store, print, and post our draw request, leaving that on it. And what you should do is you should print one that does have the revenues. This is the detail one. This is a summary that shows the revenues on it. So let's go ahead and do the one with detail with revenues, COs, costs. And now I'm going to show you some tools that I happen to have on my own computer. And if you have a good PDF reader, you might be able to do the same thing. Let's go ahead and do this, which means it created a PDF that it stored in your file cabinet, and it identified this PDF with draw number 2, said the contact was the home buyer, it's marked as show buyer, permission level, who can see this, but you could change the title, and you can say before adding notes or something, draw to Vista View, so that you have that information, and you can type some notes about this as adding some notes, and save this tagging that you just did so that you can see it in your thing. But let's open the file, and now here is where I'm going to show you something that you could do to this before you did it. When these open, they sort of open in a little PDF reader that's not really your own, and you can get it into your own PDF reader by using a little download icon, which I'm going to do, because with my Adobe Acrobat that's going to open, it's called Adobe Acrobat Pro. That means that I can use some tools that are up here, and I can do some content editing and edit text. If I said edit text, it's going to show little boxes, and you'll see how my cursor changes so that I could change the draw amount. But I'm not going to do that. I need it to tie to my list of amounts I'm going to draw. What I'm going to do is add some text right up here at the top. My home buyers are named George and Mary. Please deduct $2,250 from the draw amount for the front door you paid for. Pay, let's see what that amount would be. I think I already did it on here. Pay $71,000. Well, let's just do our math here. 73,962.44 minus 2250, 71,712.44. Like that. Please deduct $2,250 from the draw amount for the front door you paid for. Pay this instead of the amount shown. Whatever kind of note you'd like, and you might make it stand out, you might highlight it, do some things with your tools. I'm going to make mine in blue, and maybe put it in italics, and do that. So we've got that done. Let's go ahead, and in my tools I can do that and copy that. And let's take a look at the rest of our draw request. Now it's showing all the detail. It'll have that front door in it, which that's what they might spot and say, why would I be paying for that? So then down towards the bottom where it totals all that up, I'm going to go ahead and paste that thing I just copied, and I'm going to drag it down here, and I'm going to get it right under the totals so they see it again, just because. And then if you keep going, you're going to see a list of revenues, and you're going to see that it says $22.50 paid voucher clearing. You might write some notes there that says this is showing how you paid that. But those notes on there should be enough to make them happy. They know that you're recognizing it. You might use some better lingo than me. So I'm going to do File and Save As. Now I cannot save it out to the CHS server when I do this. I need to save it on my own machine. And I set up a folder called Home Buyers, or just because, although I don't really have, and one for George and Mary Small. Now what I'd like to do is maybe I just want to name this Draw Request. I don't need those things that were thrown on. Draw Request 2, and maybe I say with notes. So now I've got that saved on my own machine, and I'll go ahead and close this. And what I would like to do now is close this that I opened, go back to where I was dealing with tagging for my draw request, and pay attention to how this was done. I've saved my things, close it, and I want to tell CHS to go ahead and yes, post the draw request, and it'll be at that higher amount, but that's okay. It's actually like you, in a way, are going to get a payment for this less $22.50, plus you already got the $22.50, so we're going to show how that's sort of done here in a minute. So let's close that. What we need to do is get that PDF that we saved into our file cabinet. We need to upload it back so that it can get into CHS. There's the draw request 2 before adding notes in our file cabinet. But let's upload a file or photo. We clicked that. Now we'll do this little upload icon, and then what you do is search your own computer. We need to go find that home buyer folder I have on my own computer. And we'll select this file to go ahead and upload. And it says it's been uploaded, and now we'll get a window to tag this. Now since CHS doesn't know what it is you're uploading, you might change the title for one thing. Let's see how I did it. Maybe I'll put Draw 2 Vista View 3811 with notes. Then the file type should be draw request, which CHS should have in here for you if you've been doing any draw requests. So we want that draw request. We want to set the permission level that we want for who could see this. We do want to show the buyer. We want to do our demo job, get it tagged with that. We don't care about the cost code, but we want to attach it to draw 2. And then our contact is actually the buyer that we might want to. And this is draw request 2 with notes about deducting for the front door that buyer paid for, or some note to yourself if you like. So I can save that tag. I could open the file and see that it is the one that I uploaded that I had notes on. See how those notes are there on that one. So I've saved that, and we'll close that, and we'll close that, and close that. And now it's refreshing the full list, and you'll see that we have two copies of draw requests, the one that CHS created and that they're connected to draw number 2, and that's in our file cabinet. Let's close our file cabinet. Now let's go back and let's reopen on the draw request menu. Let's click that button to do draw requests, and now you can see those 2 that we have there. But if you click to view stored PDF, you're going to see that you have 2 of them, and you can see here, this is the one with notes. You could drill down and see it again. But now you have 2 connected, the one that CHS just made without any of your notes, and the one that you did with notes. So that's a handy way to get those stored so you can figure out some things when you're posting the money received. Maybe you need to relook at the draw request. So now what we need to do, let's play like they did pay us the money. And you know what, I think I'll go back and open that PDF of the one that let's go ahead and open it and minimize it. That one with notes. So we keep it, it's not minimized actually when you do it that way, it's up in a tab. So let's go back here. We've got that open. And let's play like they did give us the money, less the, let's just play like they did it in the same day. They just sat and wrote out a check. So it'll be today. So we're going to post a deposit for that money. And these are all just suggestions by me. You don't have to do any of this, but you can see how when you're using paid vouchers, we still want to draw that total that has our markup on it. So here, let's go ahead and do a line here. We're going to do 2 lines is what we're going to do. Let's play like they gave us a check, gave some check number there. And what we want to do on our first line is put the amount of the total draw. And I'll show you why we're going to do that here in a minute. But let's go ahead and do small, that's the name of our buyers, draw 2. Let's use our deposit category that will show in a lot of other things where we're posting our interim draw. We're posting it to GL number 2000, which is construction loans payable, because we're drawing this whole amount. Let's say the whole amount of our original draw request, which is $73,962.44, which you can see if you look at your draw request that you did up there. Now let's add it, let's copy this line so that we don't have to select the buyer and put the check number in again. And let's do a second line that says deduct front door payment from draw 2. Now what you will need to have remembered is, what did I save here? Is if you look at job revenues and you look at the paid voucher, that got posted to that direct construction costs, like I showed you when I pulled up the accounting voucher. So if you have a list of your revenues here to pay attention to, you'll want to do this part to that same GL number. And we are going to use the paid voucher clearing deposit category, because I'll show you why in a minute. And we notice we want to get our 1430 so that it ties to job cost reports. So we're using that GL and we're doing minus 2250. And if we look at this deposit total now, that's the amount of the check that they gave us, because that's what we told them to give us. And we'll put this into our construction account and we'll put the date of today. We took it to the bank or something. And we're going to go ahead and submit this deposit. Notice if you re-click on these things, you can, if there's not room, you can get them to show better. But anyway, let's submit this deposit. And let's close this because we're going to look at our records now in another spot. Let's go back to that financials where we pulled that trial balance with job sums that we would be using to try to tie our job cost reports to the 1430. If you remember at the first part of this video, this number was a little bit different. And this is the amount in 1430 direct construction cost GL account for this job. And if we do a job cost this GL, what you're going to see is that we are now tying to it. And that's because in the 1430, we have now taken care of posting a deposit that actually increased it back up to take care of this out amounts that were down here. So we're now tying to our job cost report, and if we look at not job cost, this GL, we can see that there's not any effect, but we have the three accounts, the three entries, one from the deposit entry and the two offset paid voucher entries. And one more thing before we go back is, let's go back to the draw request menu. And let's take a look at how our revenues, so let's say we're getting ready for draw number 3. We want to see if there's been any paid voucher revenue we need to tell the buyer to deduct. So we could pull this up, and because we did that second line on the deposit window, we now show paid voucher clearing, and the total of it is 0. Because we actually, on the deposit window, show how we deducted front door payment from draw 2. That's why it's important. And draw 2 is showing the whole amount. So the net effect of all that is our job revenues received so far. So you could say, well, I don't need to, this is cleared out now because I posted the deposit like that. So there's no other thing I need to tell the home buyer about to deduct from the draw request. Hopefully that helps you handle. I know it does get a little harder. Really, I would just avoid and tell the home buyer, don't go pay for things, and I'll handle it and then draw the money from you, or I'll draw it ahead and then I'll go pay for things. Because accounting will get more complex when outside parties start paying for your job costs. That's just the way it is. But this way you're able to include the higher amount that's marked up for that front door in the draw request, and then just give them credit for the cost amount. So you'll get that markup in that draw. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope that helped. And I think I'm done talking about paid vouchers, something paid by outside parties.